Will Hunting, portrayed by Matt Damon in the movie Good Will Hunting, is a young janitor working at MIT. His IQ level is well above the average level, as reading and solving problems has always came easy to him. A professor at MIT put an equation on the board that took nearly 20 years to figure out, and Will Hunting was able to just do it in one night. The professor was amazed and wanted to work with him. However, Will Hunting found himself in court being sentenced for time in jail after assaulting a childhood bully. The professor was able to help lower his sentence to attending a psychiatrist and being supervised by him. After meeting with numerous amounts of psychiatrists, he found himself at his last one, but was still too stubborn to talk. However, Sean Maguire, acted by Robin Williams, was able to get more out of him than anyone has before. He opened up about his childhood where he was abused and neglected. His father beat him almost every day, and he was even once stabbed while the other foster kids would burn cigarette butts on his skin. Sean Maguire, after months of examining what he could now call his friend, concluded that Will Hunting is suffering from PTSD. PTSD develops through a traumatic event that occurs in a person's life. In Good Will Hunting, this is accurately represented as his childhood, which consisted of constantly being beaten and neglected, and it was very prominent throughout the film. Many PTSD victims experience their personality and relationships being affected, and in Good Will Hunting, it is no different. Will Hunting is seen pushing away his girlfriend, who was curious about his childhood. If she ever brought it up, he would often lie and suffer from a sudden outburst of anger, a common symptom of victims of this disorder. He ended up breaking up with her to avoid talking about his childhood, where he was beaten and stabbed. It did not stop at his girlfriend, however. It also occurred with his psychiatrist. Whenever Sean Maguire would try to figure out what happened in the past, Will Hunting would attack him verbally and would storm out of the room in anger. Victims suffering from this disorder will avoid talking about what caused it, and it is accurately depicted in Good Will Hunting. As seen in many PTSD victims, an avoidant personality trait is often acquired throughout years of not talking about the traumatic event. Victims often push everyone away that wants to try and help. Those want to try and solve it by themselves. Will Hunting has never opened up truly in detail about the event, even to his 3 best friends he knew his entire life.
It's not your fault. I know. It's not your fault.
I know.
No, you don't. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
All right.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me. It's not your fault.
Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean. Not you.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Will always blamed himself and never let anyone try to help. It was a serious problem for him, and he just let himself deal with it, a common symptom for most PTSD victims. Eventually, Will opened up to Sean Maguire and began to start treating himself properly. Sean Maguire was able to connect with him directly, as he was also a victim of abuse. Victims are able to heal when they talk about their traumatic event with a trusted friend, and this is exactly what Will Hunting did. Will was able to share details about his childhood with Sean, and he was able to reassure Will that it's not his fault. Will his whole life blamed himself, just like many PTSD victims do. However, unlike PTSD victims, Will Hunting's coping mechanism was not noticeable enough. PTSD victims usually have an activity such as reading and working out to help cope with their PTSD. In Good Will Hunting, although his coping mechanism is to study, it is not completely noticeable and could have been drawn out more. Other than that, Good Will Hunting is very accurate on its depiction of PTSD, through the abuse he suffered as a child, the way he managed it in the beginning, and the way he was able to treat it.